a lot of Valorant skins, and they also continue to keep getting more and more expensive. This is just a fact, and there's such a very few amount of ways to get them for free, and one of them is by using Buff, the sponsor of today's video. Now, Buff is honestly one of the better platforms to get free Valorant points. Now, I am allowed to be 100% truthful during this sponsor, so I will say you won't get it overnight. It does take some grinding, but there's a couple reasons why I like Buff over other programs, and the biggest one being that it is passive, meaning not only when you're playing Valorant, but a host of other games, as long as you're completing their little challenges, which add a little gameplay fun factor, you'll slowly get points and eventually be able to redeem. Actually, it's been a while since I sponsored Buff, so I have quite a few coins in my reserve, and I want to show you guys how I can redeem them. Now, throughout this entire video, there will be gift cards like right here that you guys can quickly redeem. That one will be taken very, very fast, but if you just wait a little bit, I'll be hiding a bunch of other ones, so hopefully some keen-eyed viewers will be able to take it. Now, after I redeem a $5 Riot Access code, I get an email verification. After I complete that, it gets put into my inventory. Now, this code will be used up here in the video just because I want to show you guys that the codes are legitimate and they work. I realized I haven't done that in the past because I usually want to give it to you guys, but don't worry, there'll be a ton on screen and hidden around. You probably just missed one right now, so roll back and look closely. Either way, when I copy the code that I redeemed myself using my account and redeem it, it works fine. I get the $5 gift card code just as they promised, easy peasy. However, Buff does have a bunch of other things included. The big one here, again, the host of games. There's so many games that they include in Buff, and that's why I think it's better, because if you're a gamer, a casual gamer, and you play other games other than Valorant, you can still slowly be getting points to buy a Valorant gift card code. That's the big one. But anyways, challenges. Make 10 assists and win 10 rounds. They're pretty simple. This is level 1, so let's head into the game, and as I try to complete that challenge, let's talk about Buff, especially some of its concerns and why it's actually a good program. Let's start with the most basic one. After you download Buff, people get scared, like, is it even safe? Well, I promise you it is. I wouldn't promote some sort of software that isn't safe, but you don't need to take my word for it, and you should never just take one person's word for it either. I'm using Buff, but on top of that, Buff makes money through ads and paid subscriptions. So people do buy Buff Premium. They buy their little battle pass thing, which is kind of cool, which gives them money. But they're also partnered with NRG and have literally over 10 million users worldwide. The truth really lies in the number. If they have like 10 million plus users and they're making ad revenue, there's never going to be a reason to sabotage it. So yes, Buff is safe. Buff it just doesn't slow your PC. That's the truth. Because of the type of program it is, it doesn't. I'm playing here. Of course, I have a beefed up PC, but no problem at all. I even got an ace while using Buff, and its use case on the GPU and CPU are very low. The utilization is tiny. The next big thing is if it's complicated, because a lot of people don't understand how to get started with Buff. I think that's something they do really, really well. As long as you have Buff open in the background while playing any of your games, it'll auto detect everything else on its own. It's not hard to set up. You do exactly what you're ready to do, just have fun playing Valorant, and again, it'll do the rest, which is great. Also has a built-in highlight recorder, which is actually kind of important. I remember when they first introduced the feature, I wasn't too sure, but then it started making a lot of sense, because then you have less and less programs in the background. So if you already have a highlighter that you are using, might be able to replace it by using Buff, and then now you only need Buff open instead of 2 programs. So it's actually not a bad idea, but you can disable it in case you don't want to use it. That's the big one. Now, moving on forward. Buff points are a grind, but I do have a few tips for you to earn Buff points faster. 1, there are daily rewards. You also get to spin the wheel every 12 hours. I did that right at the start. I love it. Something about the wheel is always a little exciting. And of course, you complete the challenges across multiple games. That's the big one. In case you play more than one game, that is where Buff truly shines. Now, if you're only a Valorant player, it's still going to work. It'll work a little bit slower, but it'll still work. If you're a multiplayer though, like let's say you play Swift Plays. Swift Plays complete challenges faster, and then you switch to like Fall Guys or whatever other casual game. If you're a casual gamer, Buff rewards that, and I really like how they reward casual gamers because it adds another layer of fun. More challenges, more things to do. It's just a massive W all around. But alright, you understand that it's safe to use, you understand that it's easy to use, and then you've used it and you've gathered your points. Now what? What if Valorant points are out of stock? That's the number one thing I hear when it comes to complaints about Buff. Now there's something I'm going to go off of the side. I was able to redeem on screen just by opening Buff, and there's a reason for that. Basically, Buff has now split into 2 categories categories, which is $5 like EU cards and $5 US cards. And having these stocked separately has increased the availability a lot. Like I was able to open buff like a few hours later after I got one, and they're still available. So I think they've pretty much fixed that, to be honest with you, which I really, really like. But this is what they have to say. The buff community is quickly growing, so they are out of stock often, but they're continuing to restock it on a daily basis. So it's not once a week. I think a long time ago it used to be once a week. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that's what the manager told me. Now it's on a daily basis. The next thing after that is you can also just buy an Amazon gift card, a Target, Best Buy, GameStop card, and then redeem those on the website to buy a Valorant point. This works really well for US. Like if you're in the US, you can just buy Amazon gift card. That's what I would do, and then just use the Amazon gift card to buy a Valorant gift card. So, I mean, that's one thing. And I also always tell people, if you already have a subscription, let's say you have a Spotify subscription, right? Okay, instead of paying for Spotify this next month, use Buff to get a Spotify card. Then use that to save the money on Spotify and just use it to buy Valorant points. I mean, points are points no matter which way they're being spent. So if you save some there, then you can just use it somewhere else. Or use other methods to find Valorant point gift cards. That's just the truth. Now, there are EU codes which are redeemable globally, which is great. These are the ones that are harder to snag because there are more global players than there are just in the US. There's no way, they're not lying, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Yes, you gotta be a little bit more vigilant. You gotta be ready to snag it, but that's also how you know Buff is legit, because people are getting enough points and playing enough using Buff to continuously buy their stock, right? So it's why it's working very, very well. Now, of course, the biggest reason Buff is worth it is just because it's simple. You leave it in the background and it's working. You get free stuff just for playing. It's quite an easy sale to itself, as long as you're okay earning at a relatively slow pace, because that's business, that's realistic for them, and you like doing challenges. If you like doing challenges, pretty much the rest is out the window, because you'll already be enjoying doing the challenges, and then the bonus is just redeeming stuff over time. Now, how to redeem is the simplest thing. I've already showed you. I've already showed a redeem right at the start. That's why I started with that, because I know it's the most important. So I want to show that it's possible, that they're in stock, and that it was easy, most importantly. I tabbed out there a little bit because I was checking my bonus points. They were active, which is a huge W. Now, this game in itself was kind of hilarious in the background, because while I kind of cooked in this Swift play, we ended up losing. And look at the scoreboard. I got 12 kills, and the rest of my team had like nothing, meaning I got I got 0 assists for the whole game. But still, even though that bar didn't fill up, the one round, we won one round, it filled up accordingly. Once I win, okay, 10 assists and 10 round wins are easy, okay? It's not that hard. I just had a bad game. But hey, when they fill up, obviously we'll get those buff bonus points, and then we'll slowly keep stacking up to eventually get a Valorant gift card. So what are you waiting for? Check out the link down below. Buff is absolutely free to use, and let me know how many gift cards you even saw, because there's a lot snuck into this video here. Anyways, bye.